Hello and welcome back to the stream. Seeing as though we are basic bitch creatures of habit on the Pandadora stream, we are going to do the same thing we do every day. Try to take over the world. But first, we will do the New York Times spelling bee and the New York Times mini crossword. Yay! Good times. Wow. You'll have to excuse me. I'm really sick. I'm here with my ginger and lemon tea, trying to get my throat to work, you know. Just doing what we can. Okay, we've got to make words with the letter I, O, A, G, L, and N, and they must have the letter W in them as well. So I'm gonna go for willow. Oh, please don't make me double click when I don't want to. Okay, we've got a good start apparently. Oh, can I put the word, this word isn't offensive in Australia, but it might be offensive somewhere else, but let's try it. Too short anyway. Lucky guys. I'm gonna go to jail. Glowing. Enter. Oh, 13 points from two words. We are doing great. Ganglion. I have never heard that before, but if you... Oh, there's no W in that. You're trying to trick me. I refuse. Awning. All right, we've got 3 words. Walling. So we've got walling, willow, glowing, and awning. My dad always says that my mum is wogging out whenever she's you know, just being all histrionic and dramatic in public and starts to like try and start drama out of something. My dad goes, "Oh, your mum's having a wog moment," and I'm just like, if I put that in, Dad, I will be cancelled. I will be over. Wallowing, that's a good one. Oh, wow. We finished this fast today, guys. We are geniuses. Good job. Good job, team. Wow. Oh, we've got a diagonal one. Oh, for heaven's sake. S-A-K-E-S, I guess. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I guess it could be sakes. Let's try. Oh. Ending for cine and multi in movie theater names. Cinemax and multipass? I have multipass. Pelvic bone. Coccyx? Is that your coccyx? This will be unacceptable. This will be alright. What a ballerina might do on one toe. Point. Permit. Radiate as energy. Stewed with a bowl cut. I don't know. I've got a feeling this one is going to not be working with my limited brain power that I have today. I just want to check the spelling of something. I'm not cheating. Coccyx bone. Yeah, I think. Oh wait, no, that's not how you spell it. Don't worry, it's not that. Pelvic bone. Multipass. Nah, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe hip or tail? Yeah, I don't... Yeah, I just actually can't even think of anything. Plex. Multiplex. Okay. Just give us the whole puzzle. Yeah, I wasn't gonna get any of those anyway. I wouldn't have spelt we with an H in it, that's for sure. Okay. Yeah, there was no world in which I was going to to get any of those. Sometimes you just know them all, and then other times you're like, I am too dumb for this. I am too tired. Today is one of those days. I tell you what, I am exhausted. I am so sick, and I'm just an unhealthy person. But shall we get into some gossip? Everybody's fighting. The moral of the story is be very careful who you let into your bedroom and very careful who you let into the Oval Office, okay? We have to be careful. It's, there was no world, Anisa, in the title. Yes? Anyway, you have to be really careful about who you let into your bedroom or who you let into the Oval Office. Tonight we're talking about the tale of two psychos, two crazy people that just want to burn the lives down of the people around them. So you better be careful who you let inside. Elon Musk and Trump are fighting. Who would have guessed that two of the biggest egotistical people in the world wouldn't get along for very long? Not I. Not I. I never would have foresawn such an ending. Well, let's get into the steak and eggs of it all, shall we? Meow.
The public feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk over the administration's signature tax and spending bill has escalated.
Elon Musk and the spending bill. I don't know why this man talks like this, but perhaps he had a stroke, so I may be being very ableist, but if he's just a wanker, then you're just a wanker. And that's all I can say.
Dramatically, with the US president threatening the billionaire's government contracts and the world's richest person suggesting he might create a new political party.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
That stunning remark about his one-time ally came as Mr. Trump met with the German.
He's helped Elon Musk a lot. Elon was nothing before Trump came along. And from dust he came, and from dust to dust he shall return, quite frankly.
Chancellor Friedrich Merz in the Oval Office. A week ago, the US leader and the Tesla boss were in the same room appearing together for a farewell to Mr. Musk, who had briefly led Mr. Trump's department to reduce excessive government spending. Since then, the relationship has soured after Mr. Musk described the president's so-called big, beautiful bill as a disgusting abomination.
Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars. He's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us.
Do you think Elon Musk is just butthurt that he got kicked out? I really, really think that their personalities were just really incompatible. And I think a lot of the staffers had a lot to say about Elon Musk. Like, Elon Musk just seems insufferable. Look what he did to poor little Grimes. Look what he did to Grimes. I will not forgive him for ruining Grimes. I just refuse to let that shit go. Grimes, Smashing Pumpkin fan. One of her favorite albums is Adore. So therefore, just on that information alone, I have deduced that she must have been a very nice girl. And, she's just a poor, innocent, little naive, artsy, autistic girl, an artsy private school girl that Elon Musk manipulated and took advantage of. And I maintain that that's the case. I refuse to believe that somebody who has even one thing in common with me could be a bad person. And that is how I live my life. But yeah, I just think when you have two incredibly egotistical people like this, they're going to clash, right? They're both people that think that they're perfect. You can't criticize either of these two. They can't take criticism. They're not going to take it on board. They're capable of self-reflection. If you have two immovable objects, it's that old physics question. What happens when two immovable objects meet? That's what Elon Musk and Trump are. Hello, Dango. Good to see you.
And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it.
Almost immediately after those comments, Elon Musk responded on social media, writing, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and Republicans would be 51 to 49 in the Senate."
This is the borderline personality girl that you know, maybe you have to step back from the friendship, or maybe you have to step back from the relationship, and she just starts tweeting, starts Facebook posting, starts Instagram posting straight away, just insane thing after insane thing after insane thing, because she's just lashing out at you because you've decided that you don't want to take her crap anymore. This is Elon Musk. What's the money that Elon Musk is, like some type of cluster B, possibly dark triad? I think the money's pretty good. Just cut the histrionics, Elon. You look like a 16-year-old girl that's been dumped by her boyfriend, or a 16-year-old boy that's been dumped by his girlfriend. All combinations of genders, whichever one. You're acting like an adolescent that has been broken up with, and you're lashing out because you can't control your big, big feelings. Elon Musk needs a weighted blanket. Should we all chip in and send him one? I think that would be really helpful.
His next post was such ingratitude. Donald Trump also fired off on his Truth Social platform. He posted, "Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, and he just went crazy." The president added, "The easiest way to say..."
Oh, so Elon Musk wanted to legislate everyone having to buy his cars, and Trump said F off. And now that would make sense, because think about how much money Elon Musk would make if he had to. Am I getting this wrong, or is that essentially what I just read? Because, tweets aren't long and they're not full of like context. But did I just read that they wanted to legislate somehow American citizens having to buy electric vehicles, and then Trump was like, "Nah, we're not doing that." And then Elon Musk had a melty, because imagine how much money he would make. Imagine the absolute killing he would make.
Money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. Elon Musk then alleged on X, without providing proof, that Donald Trump is in unreleased Jeffrey Epstein files, and claiming that's why they haven't been made public.
Come here.
Honestly, I think every single New York and LA socialite is going to be in the Epstein. It's the same thing with like Diddy, right? They were all sickos. They're all into like some really weird sexual deviancy. All of them. Because most of the entertainment industry especially, like, typically has some type of casting couch. Like, when I was in my late teens, I used to do some modeling. So in the Australian summer, I would go to East Asia, and I did a lot of modeling in Japan, and I did a lot of modeling in Korea, in Taiwan, in Singapore, in Malaysia. And I would probably make like, enough to help me out with my textbooks and my rent and stuff. And I would just like model some clothes, model some makeup. They would just like, want Slavic looking girls to white girls to like, I don't know, model their clothes, and you'd be in like some catalogs and all those types of things. And even that I had to stop doing, right? Because I did like 2 photo shoots in Sydney, and one of the photographers asked if he could, because I had all this body makeup on me, and so the makeup artist told me where the shower was so I could have a shower before I left. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went to go like have a shower, and the photographer asked if he could come in and take photos of me while I was showering. And so I texted like my friend who's terminally unemployed, and I said, hey, I'm really freaking scared. I gave him the address and I said, can you rock up here? So he did, and we just left. Like, I just left with all this like body paint and like makeup all over like my arms and legs, because I was like, I'm just gonna have a shower when I get home. And then after that, I would just always bring a male friend with me whenever I had a photo shoot. But yeah, I pretty much stopped filming photo shoots in Australia because it was always like someone wanting to do like something weird and sexual, and like you would tell your agency about it afterwards and they would just be like, yeah, like sort of like, well, what did you expect? It's like, okay, well, I don't need this. Like, I have a part-time job. Like, I have an actual job as well as studying. Like, I am not going to degrade myself. I'm not tall enough to actually become, you know, a top model anyway. So yeah, you just chuck it in, right? Like, it's not worth it. But yeah, all of these people, my point is, all of these people in entertainment are total creeps, are total sex pests. They're all on tape doing, you know, gross things. Elon Musk is definitely, if he's not in the Epstein files as well as Trump, he's definitely in the P. Diddy videos. I mean, did you see what Azalea Banks said about him wanting to have a threesome with her and Grimes? Remember that whole thing when Azalea Banks went to Elon Musk's house to make like an album or record some music with Grimes, but Elon Musk was busy having a meltdown because he was on acid, and then he wrote a tweet saying he was going to sell Tesla shares for $4.20, and then there were like the SEC, whoever does the trading share regulatory body in the US were like going to investigate him, but because he just wrote it as a joke because he was high and he was like, oh, 420. Because I don't know, he's just decided that he's 17 now. He's just decided to start sex, drugs, and rock and roll at the ripe old age of, I don't know, 55. I don't know how old he is. He's not looking great. He's looking a bit like a reanimated corpse. He's got a very bad pallor. He needs to go out and get some sun. He needs to get off the internet. I think you would think someone like Elon Musk would be more busy, but he has enough time to tweet literally every single little thought that goes across his little brain. Like, calm down, mate. Just take a deep breath.
Take over, Elon. Just take over.
Well, that was back in October when Elon Musk enthusiastically joined Donald Trump on the campaign trail. He became a strong ally, investing about $380 million into the Republicans' successful presidential bid.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
Mr. Musk slashed government spending as head of Department of Government Efficiency, but the approach led to mass protests and saw Tesla stocks dive. Still, he made multiple appearances at the White House, often appearing with his son, and became one of Mr. Trump's most visible advisors. It was then announced that he would be leaving his role, leading to last week's White House farewell.
My time as a special government.
The little boy that he has on his shoulder is Grimes's like first child, and she doesn't get to see him ever. Like, she has to beg him publicly, like, can I please take my child to see his dying grandmother in Canada? Poor little Grimes. She was such a cute little electronic fairy until you ruined her, Elon. You ruined her. I don't like you. You're a bad, bad man. He's like a 55-year-old edgelord, and first of all, it's not 2016 anymore. You're like way too late to the party. And it's just really sad. No one thinks you're cool, Elon. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but this is so try-hard. You are such a try-hard. It doesn't matter how young the women are that you're impregnating. You will always be old and uncool. One of the best things you can do as you get older is just accept that you're older and age gracefully. It's okay. Everybody gets old, Elon. All of us. We all are gonna leave this earth the same way. It's fine. Just chill out, accept it. Everything's good.
Employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So, that it comes with a time limit. But the Doge team will only grow stronger over time. The Doge influence will only grow stronger.
The spat continues to spiral. Shares in Tesla have fallen by almost 10%, while Mr. Musk has now suggested the spending bill will lead the US into recession later this year. Democrats have seized on the very public blow-up.
Elon Musk and I agree with each other. The GOP tax scam is a disgusting abomination. Every single Republican who voted for the one big ugly
Elon Musk trying to find every woman that's like vulnerable enough to accept his test tube sperm is an abomination. Stop making all these babies, Elon. You do not have good genes. I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You do not have good genes. Please keep your test tube sperm to yourself, mate. Please, for the love of God. Grimes is gone but not forgotten. We'll always remember how cute and cool Grimes used to be before she was ruined by that walking corpse, that fucking trash bag of a human being. And yes, Adore, the Smashing Pumpkins' 1998 album Adore is a banger of an album, so we know that Grimes is cool, or she was at least cool at one stage. Rest in peace, Grimes. We miss you.
bill should be ashamed of themselves.
Oh, that was it. Justice for Grimes. If you can't tell, I'm impassioned about the subject. Oh, I got the special YouTube with no ads, like the one that you pay for. What's it called? YouTube Premium. I bought YouTube Premium, so we won't be interrupted anymore. But oh my God, kids, put the kettle on, get out your finest tea bags, because the gossip is piping hot, my friends. We have some salacious gossip, but also I didn't think I could have less respect for Anisa and iDubbbz. It was already in the ground. We were already tunneling to the molten core of the earth. I didn't think I could respect them less. And then I found out what they did to this poor lady, the wife of Ian's boxing coach. Oh, guys, it's so much worse than you could ever imagine. It's so awful. Wait, should we just do the awful part first and then just get into the less salacious gossip? Let's just get this off my chest, because this, Anisa, I'm sorry, but you are a dog. You are a dog of a woman. There's no redemption for you. You belong in the depths of hell, you absolute mole troll. Okay. Oh, this is so bad, guys. This is what Anisa and Ian did to this little cutie pie lady who's such a sweetie. Okay. Let's go.
And Kate, Kate, no, I'm not done, because Kate, I wanted to ask you brought up, when we were chatting a bit before the show, I brought up your work working on some really interesting activism where you were,
yes,
this is not interesting, it's really shocking and sad that you yourself were a child bride.
Yes. So I'm a child bride survivor, and at the age of 12, I was put into a child marriage from the time I was.
So this woman, her parents married her off when she was 12 years old. Her parents are traffickers. Her parents are sex traffickers. Like, think about what this woman has been through. Think about, like, you know, I know a lot of people claim victimhood these days, but this woman has actually been through horrific, horrendous shit. Poor lady. I'm so glad she has a nice husband now. God bless.
I was 12 until 23. Within my child marriage, I had 2 kids when I was 15 and
Whoa.
17. And this happened in America, okay? And Ian and Nisa are well.
And this happened in America. This happened in the United States of America, in the state of Washington, where child marriage is apparently perfectly legal with parental consent. This woman was impregnated at age 15 and 17. Like, think about that. Think about giving birth when your body is that young. It's so dangerous and it's so traumatic. A child cannot consent to that. A child cannot consent to marriage, and a parent should not legally be able, you know, able to consent on their child's behalf. Like, this is absolutely horrible. You know, most people, would you agree that that's really horrible? Would you maybe ignore somebody that asked you to perhaps use your high internet profile to help them get some awareness for passing a bill, passing a piece of legislation that would prohibit this happening to another young woman in your position? Well, a young female child? Huh. Well, let's see what Ian and Anisa would do with such a proposition. And let me tell you, it's not fucking good.
Aware of my story because I've had them at my home. They've seen my kids and everything. And so last year, right, 2024, I learned that there was a House bill in Washington State trying to pass House Bill 1455 to end child marriage. And so when I learned of this bill, I thought to myself, even though it had been 15 years since I escaped my prison, like, this is a chance for me to come forward and tell my story. I sent, so Michael and I went to Olympia in Washington. We met with politicians. We lobbied to support the bill. I gave my public testimony to support the bill. And, you know, once I was on Seattle Times and television and everything. And I reached out to Ian and Nisa and I asked them if they could help, you know, share the information because it was really important to me that this bill passed. And they just both left me on red. But guess what? Today,
they just left her on red. They just ignored her. These are the people that, you know, they're the most empathetic people in the world. All their old friends aren't good enough for them anymore because they're level 55 empathy. And you're only on level 2 empathy. You listening right now, you could never, ever, ever, ever be as good of a person as Anisa and Ian are. They're just, you know, they've just transcended normal human form. They are, you know, they're just up there. They're better than you. They left this lady on red. You think that we as a society would come to a consensus that 12-year-olds being married off to fully grown men is reprehensible. But no, they left this woman on red. Then, you know what happens? They saw Ethan's story with a thumbnail saying that he was going to be interviewing them. And then all of a sudden, Anisa and Ian aren't ignoring her anymore. Let's see.
When they saw the highlights on Ian's story that we were going to be on here, Anisa was texting me and Michael, and they were like,
they ignored us when we were like trying to fight child marriage. But then when they found out,
are they pro child marriage?
They might have gone so fully crazy that they've actually become pro-child marriage. Who knows with these people? Like, they become so open-minded, their brains have actually fucking fallen out. Like, this is where we are.
That's why it makes one. Begs the question. Wait, so how? And if you're uncomfortable talking about this, refrain. But it sounds. How did you get married at 12?
So basically, in Washington State, there's no law to prevent parents from marrying their children. So as long as there's a parental consent, then the judge on it and it happens, it could just marry a child at the age of 2.
What?
Yes, and also.
Yeah. Yeah, think about that. Think about that. Like, if we as a society can't come together and say that that's reprehensible. But, you know, Anisa and Ian, the most compassionate, kindest, coolest people that you're just not worthy of. You will never be ideologically pure enough to hang out with these people. They left this woman on red who was just asking them, you know, to bring awareness to this bill, maybe promote a petition or two. No, just left her on red until they knew these guys were gonna go on the H3 show and pour the piping hot tea and expose them for the freaking losers that they are. Oh, guys, you don't even know how funny, how embarrassing Ian and Anisa are as humans. We're gonna get into it. It's gonna be great. Like,
I want to imply that I also want to let you guys know that last year after Michael and I worked so hard in Olympia in Washington to pass the bill was passed in March of last year, and the bill was signed by the governor at the end of March.
See, so she's done more for society than Ian and Anisa ever will with their fake charity boxing events where they just pocket the money and just try and use it to like ingratiate themselves with like Hassan and all those people by giving them free hotels and free parties and all of that jazz. Like, this woman actually has done something for society. And it turns out being a good person doesn't make you rich. You don't make money from actually doing good. Just actually quietly going out into the world and, you know, trying to make it better, trying to help people, trying to actually enact change in the environment around you. But, you know, they only want it if it's, you know, if it involves studio lights and clout and being friends with the coolest streamers or whatever. Like, these guys are so freaking lame. Absolute losers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it became a law June 6th.
That's amazing. Is that a state bill?
Yeah, and then I also came out to California as well to support the bill in February of last year. But because of the politicians and they're more focused on their sponsors and not ending child marriage to protect children like, you know, me and survivors like me, the bill in California was actually trashed the day before I was supposed to go down.
Are you saying in California you can get married at any age with parental consent?
Yeah. So
I did not know that. I did not know that.
We were trying to fight it in California too, and it looked like it was going pretty far, but then they pulled it back because, like she said, if one of their sponsors is against it, then they'll take the bill out.
Yeah,
who's against that?
Who is against child marriage? That's honestly terrifying. What reasons other than horrifically nefarious ones would you need to get married to a child? Think about that. There's absolutely no reason that doesn't involve grapefruits and doesn't involve, you know, producing and distributing grapefruit videos of children. Fuck me, mate. Jesus.
Who's against that?
So Planned Parenthood is actually is hugely against ending the passing the bill.
Well, it was very complicated. So Planned Parenthood in Washington was for the bill. Planned Parenthood in California, they were scared to pass the bill because they were afraid if they made child marriage 18, then it would lead to contraceptives having to be at 18. But part of our argument was like contraceptives and those types of things are not those are time sensitive. Marriage is not time sensitive. So if some girl needed something for medical help or they needed access to abortion or they need access to birth control, that is time sensitive. But the marrying somebody is not time sensitive. So we didn't feel like it was going to affect it at all, but they were afraid. And there's actually literally the state Supreme Court said it can't be affected by that, but they were so worried that those things could lead to a path of that, like of oh, you'll need to be 18 to get abortion or all these other things. So Planned Parenthood was against it. So we had to like really push against like, hey, like marriage and abortions are completely separate. You know, we're not trying to take away like a woman's right to choose. We just don't want people to marry off their child.
Yeah.
Correct.
Dude.
Yeah, mate, they're just trying to stop children from being trafficked into child freaking sex slavery. Like, far out. That's, yeah, that's really disappointing.
Dude, what?
Yes, and also the thing is this: if there's a child bride, right, and she gets into a marriage and she's being abused, right, which most case happens, right, they get abused.
Because if you have sex with a 12-year-old, it's still a child.
But if you have a marriage license, it's okay.
Yeah.
No.
So it's statutory.
So if you get married, as a 12-year-old, he can have sex with you
as much as he wants. It's not. It's no longer. So that's the loophole to.
What? So the age of consent doesn't matter if you're married, and you can marry at any age with parental consent. Her parents should be charged with sex trafficking. That's sex trafficking. Fucking, I hope she is no contact with her parents. Fuck them. Seriously, fucking degenerates. Absolute fucking cretins.
The statutory rape.
Yes.
That's a loophole to pedophilia.
Yes, literally.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
What?
Yeah, and so
That's crazy.
yeah, one of the people
That's disturbing. Really disturbing. It's crazy that they're in favor of that.
Yeah, that's why I can't believe that Ian and Anisa wouldn't even like respond to me about it when we have been nothing but supporting to them. So that's when I was just like, you know what? This is actually a situation where I really needed their platform to like help spread the word that I want to help end child marriage. I'm coming forward with my story. I'm sharing it for the first time on public television. I'm testifying to support the bill publicly.
That sounds really important.
Yeah, and for people that have genuinely suffered, you know, people that actually have been victims of horrific things, it is actually incredibly hard to talk about. And it is actually incredibly scary to go out and share your story like that. Like, this woman is incredibly brave, and all Anisa and Ian would have had to do was probably share a link and say, hey, this is something that you probably don't know what's going on, but you probably didn't even know was a thing that could happen in this country. But there are gross, disgusting, fully grown adult men who are marrying 12-year-old girls and getting them pregnant. And we can stop that. Like, why would you not want to facilitate that as a YouTuber? Like, why? Or a content creator or whatever Ian and Anisa fucking do these days. I don't freaking know. But yeah, fuck them. Seriously. Fucking dickheads.
Very
you know,
brave.
and they just put me on red.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. I'm frankly blown away that this is happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be back in California again next year when the bill goes back down to,
We'll go back to Sacramento.
So I'll let you guys know, my journey.
Absolutely, please.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So how does that happen? How do you? But like, what's the arrangement like? Or like, your parents agreed for you to marry. Who was the person?
So I grew up. I came to America when I was 3 years old, and in my culture, my nationality is Hmong, and you can have more than Hmong.
Hmong?
Yeah.
Mom.
Hello, DBM 4794. Good to see ya.
HMONG.
HMONG. Yeah. If someone can look that up too, that'd be great. Just because Hmong people don't have their own country. They originated out of.
How do you know if someone has borderline personality disorder? Typically they really, really want to be loved, but they're so insecure about, typically the way it manifests, especially in young women, is they have very poor emotional regulation. Like, they can't regulate their emotions very well. And their biggest fear is being abandoned, but they can't control their emotions. They're incredibly insecure. So they end up lashing out at the people they love the most with such over-the-top, like, histrionic behaviors that they end up just, like, manifesting the one thing that they're scared of. I mean, the most, which is being, left because of their behavior. And yeah, I mean, if you want to look it up in the DSM-5, that's probably going to give you a more succinct overview of the it's a cluster B personality disorder. It's in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual 5, which is what psychiatrists in most Western countries use as like their standard diagnostic manual. It'll give you a good overview, but we can go into it more in depth later. But that's typically how it will manifest in women. And there's mostly women that seem to be afflicted by it.
Of the southern region of China, but then they resided in the mountains of Laos for a very long time.
Wow.
And then when the Vietnam War happened, our people were living in the jungles of Laos, just, you know, no electricity, no running water, just surviving in the jungle. And it was the American CIA that actually approached our people, and they asked our people to help them, first line of defense, right? And in return, they would set up camps in Thailand for us. So all the women and children would have to flee the mountains of Laos, go to the refugee camp set up in Thailand. But there was a huge river that separated the two countries called the Mekong River. And so you would have to wait until nightfall, and then you have to either drug your children with opium and build a raft with bamboo shoots, and then swim across the river to make it to the camps. Once you get to the camps, you stay in the camps, and the camp is in a barbed wired valley of the mountain regions of Thailand. And you have to stay there until it's your turn to come to America. Yeah. And so when the Americans pulled out of the Vietnam War, right, they just left. And because the organization was, the operation was ran by the CIA, it was classified. And so that's why nobody knew what happened to us and why all these Hmong people were showing up in America. It wasn't until like the after the early 2000s when the early 2000s YouTube happened, and then when YouTube happened, the veterans that had retired went back to film the Hmong people that were still running for their lives, the Hmong people that were still stuck in the camps that didn't get to come to America. And then that's when they finally closed the camps down. They brought everybody over to America around 2006.
Okay, that's wow. So there were just people living in refugee camps since the end of the Vietnam War, which was what, like 1970, I want to say 1975? I would have to double check that.
And that's when Obama went to Laos. I don't know if you guys remember, but when Obama went to Laos, they put a big Band-Aid on it and they said, we're gonna call this the Laotian Civil War. And that's the reason why we brought the Hmong people to America, and we're gonna call this the secret war. Yeah. Okay, so that's what happened at the end. But yeah.
So your mother was one of these refugees?
Yeah.
She was born in the refugee camp.
I was born in the refugee camp.
Yeah, she was born in the refugee camp.
Oh, you were born in Thailand in one of these places? Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah. I was born in. My parents remained in the camps for so long after the Americans pulled out of the Vietnam War. They met each other. They married. They had me. I was 3 years old, and then we finally came to the U.S. I think it was it was 88. Yeah, we came to the U.S. in 88, and I was 3 years old. We lived in Fresno, California, because the way they had the operation set up was California, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Those were like the 3 hubs in America where they would send all of our refugee Hmong people. And then we didn't have a country. So whenever we went to school.
Yeah, the Vietnam War did end in 1975. I just had to double check. And you were so thinking I was dumb. So yeah, these people were in the camps from 1975 and she came over in 88. Like, that's insane.
They would say, what are you? And I would say Hmong. Nobody would know. So a lot of Hmong people would just classify themselves as Laotian or Thai, but that's actually not true.
Right.
You know, the whole story behind it. Yeah, or they say Chinese, you know, because they don't have to explain the heritage and everything. But for me, it's super important because our people played a huge role in, you know, in supporting the Americans, you know? Yeah.
Wow.
So at 10 and a half, though, she was sent to live in Washington. Yeah. And then her aunt helped arrange
Yes. So basically, like in my culture, a husband can have more than one wife.
The reason why she keeps on going off on tangents like that, and the husband's like trying to steer her back on steer her back on track is like when you have trauma like that and you're trying to recall the events, it's very, very hard to give like a very succinct chronological like recount of the events. That's why it seems so disjointed and all over the place. But I would call her a pretty reliable witness. She seems very genuine in her retelling of what happened. It's just, yeah, it's a bit hard to follow, but she's obviously been through a lot.
Which is very sad. And daughters are only meant to be sold off as for dowry. And sons are the only one that are respected and put on a pedestal because they carry the last name of the family, right? And so unfortunately, my mom had 5 daughters, no sons. And because of that, my dad left her. It was very sad.
Oh my goodness. That is...
So I grew up in California. I grew up in Fresno, California. And I had, it was me, my mom, and my 2 sisters. My dad left us, and we were on our own, you know? And then my mom didn't feel like she could make decisions for herself because in my culture, you're a woman. So you have to rely on your elders and you know, and the men, right? And so because we couldn't practice the religion because we didn't have a men in the household, then we went to church. And then my aunt at the time, was moving, my aunt and uncle were moving back to Washington, and they asked my mom if they could bring me with them at the age of, I was like almost 11, I was like 10 and a half. Yeah. And so they asked if they could bring me with them because they had 5 kids, all under the age of 6 years old. And they wanted me to be their nanny and their helper, you know?
Yeah, so she had to go raise her aunt's family at 10 and a half.
Wow, they wanted a living slave, then they got a living slave, and then they sold their living slave into sexual slavery. Wow, this is so fucking fucked. Fucking hell.
Yeah, and my mom couldn't say no because it's not allowed. You're not allowed to say no. So she allowed me to go with my aunt and uncle to Washington. And then when I got to Washington, I also lived a very sad life, you know, because I lived in a 2-bedroom with 5 children. I had to take care of them, and it was really hard. But I tried to find the best in everything, you know, that I had, you know, because my life was very hard. And and so then when I was 12, my aunt brought me around to like the community, and I would work and stuff like at gatherings. And so someone spotted me, and they just thought like, oh, look at this little girl. She's super sweet, and she's super obedient, and she's very good at like washing dishes and all the house chores. So how about we buy her for our son? And that's what happened.
Yeah. And a lot of cultures, so I was just gonna say, like, a lot of cultures will do dowries for girls, and like don't really give them a lot of respect. Like the men are supposed to like lead the way. And it's really backwards because in those cultures, the men are becoming like children, you know? So
yeah, and so I was married to someone who was older than me. I was only 12 and he was 19 years old. 3 months after marrying him, he was physically abusive to me right away. And it was the most difficult time of my life because I had no friends, no access to anything. I had to be enrolled in 7th.
So this is what this girl has been through. And Anisa and Ian wouldn't even share a link or wouldn't even say, hey, this is a bill to stop child marriage so that little 12-year-old girls cannot be bought by weird, perverted 19-year-old men who are going to abuse them. They left this woman on red. Like, disgusting. Anyway, now let's get into the tea about Ian and Anisa. I just wanted to front load with that and keep this in your mind when I'm being really petty about Ian and Anisa, because this is a woman that they ignored. This is I don't care. These people are such fucking scum in my eyes. Like, I can't think of anything worse than hurting a child. Anybody that hurts a child is absolutely despicable. And yes, Ian and Anisa weren't the ones who trafficked her. They weren't the ones that abused her, but they wouldn't even share a link, and they have such a huge platform that they could have been really instrumental in getting the Washington bill and the Californian bill passed. They would have been able to get a lot of signatures and, you know, would have been able to demonstrate to the congressmen and the senators that, hey, this bill is important. People really care about it. People are really pro this bill. It would have been a really big help. And they couldn't be fucked doing that because they're self-centered virtue signalers. They are not good people. They are only concerned with being perceived as being good, with being perceived as having the right, you know, social values. They're just posers, and they're just losers, and yeah, fuck them right in the, I don't want to get banned. Yeah, just poo. They're poo heads.
Kind of Michael, Kate, and Harley, you guys were in touch, right?
Well, I know them from Creator Clash, actually. That's how I met them. And I never saw the clip, Michael, of you saying that you could beat up all the coaches. I'm telling my coach, we'll see about that. I don't know. He's not going as hard as you do every day, but I don't know.
I've seen Michael. He's a beast.
Yeah. I don't know where he gets all that energy. You know, I'm not a morning person, so someone like Michael would piss me off. I feel like he's good to go first thing in the morning.
Is that right, Michael?
Not always, no. Sometimes I need a couple cups of coffee.
Oh my
Good,
God, I
human.
love your
He's
guys'
human.
dog. Harley, 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 stand back. I love your doggy. What, a girl or boy?
Girl, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Aw, she looks so like a little puppy still.
Yeah, she still
Yeah.
does, yeah.
What's her name?
Oh,
Winnie, like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, I love her. She's got a little bowl cut.
Yeah, well, her hair's too long right now. We had to shave her body because
So
we were out.
cute. I have two terriers. I've got a Yorkie and
Yeah, we met one of them when we were there.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
we did.
So, guys, first of all, thanks for calling. I really appreciate it. Oh, great. Hold on one sec, sorry.
So this is obviously the beginning of the interview. I wanted to front load this portion of the stream with Anisa and Ian leaving this woman on red, just because, you know, and ignoring her pleas for them to help her with this bill, which is obviously like something really important. Just so when I'm being very, very, very petty, and I will be very, very petty because I don't like these people. They are such try-hard losers in life. Like, they're doing things that like teenagers in the 2000s did, like in their 30s. Like, they've just discovered bands and they've just discovered tattoos. Like, seriously, get a grip. Like, such try-hard losers. Your brains are supposed to be developed now. You're not supposed to be doing this stuff.
To request access for myself. To access my nub.
You dork.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah,
Nice.
you guys know AB, right? I mean, AB was singing your praise, Michael. You were in his corner, right? Because his coach was unable to attend. That was so nice of you.
Yeah, I love AB. Yeah, I helped him train for a little while as well. I helped a lot of the fighters from Creator Clash 1 train. But yeah, I love AB. He's a great guy. Yeah, I'll be in his corner any day.
There it is. Oh,
Thanks, bud.
so nice.
Appreciate you. I actually, we were supposed to go out to eat, the three of us, recently, but my grandma got sick and I had to bail last minute. Yeah. But nice to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you.
Here.
Yeah.
And Kate, what did you do for Creator Clash?
I traveled with Ian and Anisa along with Michael, and I did all the recording for all the sparring sessions, all the meetups with all the YouTubers, even small interviews with like Eric, who also fought on CC1. So I have a ton of content, and Ian promised us that he was going to put out this documentary that was going to share the journey of how Michael took this video game nerd and turned him into a boxer. And so that's how they sold it to us when they first came to us. And so I was super psyched that this is going to be a way for me to help build my husband's brand and also put the work out there. But it never came through. And so when he most recently put that video out,
Yeah, so they've got this woman, you know, putting in the hours, putting together, like trying her best to film some type of documentary, get all this good footage. And then they just don't even do anything. Imagine like someone hires you to do a job and you put all this work into it and then they just chuck it in the bin. Like, how would you feel? Like, they're such dickheads.
saying that he told a big lie and he was never going to put out a documentary, and all he has is a ton of 4K videos of him doing stupid shit or something like that. It was actually very hurtful to me.
That's your footage that he's
exactly,
talking
yeah.
about your footage.
Yeah, exactly.
3 years. Yeah, 3 years of filming.
Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah. Before the 61, we filmed the year.
It was 10 months, yeah.
And
So,
was he paying you at the time, or like what? How was he compensating you?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
So I do want to say that, like, for dynamic filming, I usually charge $150 an hour for dynamic filming. But because I was under the impression that this is going to charity, me and Michael, would always scale back on charging them. So, for example, instead of charging him $150 an hour, I would charge him $100 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
So many people were giving Ian and Anisa like, discount rates, mates rates, or like, providing services in kind because they thought it was for charity. And they didn't realize Anisa and iDubbbz were taking like a 34% cut, like a third of the profits. Anisa and iDubbbz are the charity, guys. They need all the money that they can get. They only own like 3 properties, like,
Now, by the way, I've heard that from other professionals now. I'm starting to hear people say that, who, like one of the announcers put out a video recently. Maybe you guys saw it. He was like, Wade? Yeah. He was like, they offered me a salary, or they offered me payment.
Yeah, that was the boxing commentator whose video we watched yesterday. That was Wade, where he was saying, oh, like, I was like, no, you guys don't have to pay me because this is like for charity. Like, I want to, want to do my part for charity. Little did he know.
But I declined it because I was like, it's for charity. I'm good. But then they took that money that he generously forfeit, a guy who's not rich, by the way, and gave it to all the fucking creators. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we were also promised a bonus on CC1 and we never got it. But because Michael was so nice, he didn't want to like make Ian feel uncomfortable and ask Ian and Nisa about it. I was pretty upset by it, and I thought it wasn't fair because how is it that we put on this great event, we raised $1.3 million for charity, and he promised us a bonus, and then right after the event, he just kind of pretend like he's too busy to check in with us, and then we...
After the event, like once the event ended, I didn't see him again for about 5 months.
What type of a person like does this to people? Promise them payment and then just ignore them and never, just never speak of it again. Some people, honestly. And you can tell that like Ian and Anisa aren't like, they've never lived in the real world. They've never had proper jobs. Maybe Anisa had a part-time job when she was at, I don't know. She says she went to uni, but I can't. She can barely string a sentence together. She's very inarticulate. I can't really see that she would, be able to. I don't know. She probably went to like whatever the American equivalent of like TAFE is. And there's nothing wrong with TAFE. Like, TAFE is great.
So, because he was working with Dax on some show, and so he never trained. So the only 8 times that Ian ever actually trained was I trained him from July until May, and then I didn't see him again pretty much for several months. And then he started training again to fight Alex. Pretty much we started at like the end of December. And then that's when like they had to kind of get serious with the camp because they realized like Alex was training hard. So really I only had 10 months with him to begin with, and then about 4+ months with him for the second event. And then I've never seen him again since then.
Yeah, I was talking to AB. I think it was pretty normal that the boxers at least gave their coaches a tip, especially because you were there. You weren't just working for him. You were helping everybody out. It seems like you guys were both like super involved in this event.
Yeah, it sounds like they went above and beyond. And if they were being paid an hourly rate, that's one thing. But if they were being paid a flat rate, but then they were also helping in the training of like other participants in the Creator Clash and doing all this like extra work, then yeah, 100%. You're not contractually obligated to pay them for that work, but they own a business, they own a boxing training business. Pay them. If somebody does work for you, pay them. Like, imagine if Ian's YouTube work got demonetized and whatever, and imagine if YouTube just never paid him for any of his work. I'm sure he'd be having a massive sook. Or imagine if, like, Anisa never got any money for her booby streams. I'm sure she would be having a sook. Like, same thing. Actually, but these people actually do real work. I'm sorry, but sitting in front of a camera sitting in front of a camera and talking into a microphone is so fucking easy. This is my 3rd week streaming, and it is the easiest thing I have ever done in my life. It is amazing. Like, that's not work. These people did work, Ian and Anisa. I know you don't know what that is, but they did work, and you should pay them. Oh, I was reading on Reddit as well. Somebody was saying one of their friends works at a coffee shop that Ian and Anisa come into, and they're really rude to the wait staff, and they don't tip. Yeah. Yeah, they're really socialist people, you know. They treat their proletariat really well there. I don't think they quite understand who the workers TM are that Marx was talking about. I mean, I don't think Anisa would know who Karl Marx was. I could throw like dust capital at her head and she would be like, "Oh, his beard is like so pretty. Yes. Slay queen."
Yeah. One of the reasons he was even able to kind of connect with Manny Pacquiao's people who hooked him up with Michael Leonardi was like one of our connections. Our friend Eric ran into a guy in a bar in Vegas, and that was the guy they were supposed to get a hold of, but he was not reaching back to him. So we were able to get them connected with the people that connected them with Michael Leonardi. So we were literally there I was there from the beginning for everything.
So you guys had a really unique point of view where you had like a front row seat to everything. Yeah. It seemed like you were with them intimately more than probably anyone else involved in this event. So there's all these interesting little details that you guys shared with me. For example, one being that I think it was you, Kate, that mentioned that he and Anisa did in fact pay for Hassan and all of his compadres to travel to and stay at Creator Clash.
Yeah, so it has been confirmed that a large part of the money that was made through ticket sales and, you know, the streaming pay per view side of the sales went to essentially buy out an entire hotel to fly influencers out. So Anisa could essentially try and become friends with them and, you know, social climb. Because Anisa wants so desperately to be cool and to be liked. But you're just a dag, babes. You're just really uncool. You're just so uncool. Your tattoos are so shit. You're shit. You're such a tryhard. Just stop it. It's okay. No one likes you. You're rich. You have your money. It's fine. You're an unlikable person. That's okay. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were talking about that long before, about how they had to fly in all these people. First of all, they rented the hotel for over 300 creators and flew a lot of them in. When the first year it was much more scaled back. We just had a couple floors of like some place, like a nice suite place, but it wasn't extravagant at all. And then the second year, they did that full hotel for 300 creators. They flew a lot of people in. One of the people they flew in was Froggy Tonic, and they flew him in from France.
That's insane.
And Froggy had told us that he was there to salvage the documentary.
Yeah.
And that was super offensive to us because we're like, what do you mean salvage the documentary? And he said his job was to go around and like film Anisa having interactions with everyone. So we didn't know if that meant they were going to make the second documentary about how, or the actual documentary about how like Anisa was responsible.
So he walks up to the filmographers, this French guy walks up to the filmographers and he's like, "Oh yes, I am here to," wait, how do you do a French accent? Oui, I am here to film the documentary. I heard that there were some American shit filmmakers trying to make a shit film, and I am here to fix it. And they're just thinking, we are the shit filmmakers, mate. Like, excuse you? Imagine how that goes down.
Responsible for the event, because she did put a lot of work in for the first event and she did put a lot of work in for the second, but at the same time, in the first event she didn't get credit for it, so she felt like she deserved all the credit. So I think that's why they paid Froggy Tonic to come film her and follow her around for the second event. But yeah, they flew in a lot of people. They rented out the whole hotel for 300 creators. And when we asked them if Ian's dad was going to be there, because he was there for the first event, they said they couldn't afford to fly Ian's dad in. It was too expensive.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty sad. And Froggy Tonic told me directly, because I met him at the hotel, right, where we were all.
Yeah, we can fly in all these influencers that you've never met, but not your dad, not the man whose fruit of his loins you came from, Ian. Nope, can't fly in, daddy.
Staying at in Tampa for CC2, and he was like, "Oh, you're the videographer that has all the content of Ian sparring." And I said, "Yes, I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this documentary, but it never came out. So I heard that you're taking it over now and you're gonna help with the editing." And that's when Froggy Tonic told me that, yeah, Ian and Anisa brought out his whole crew from France.
His whole crew?
I think it was just him.
Well, he had a few people that were holding the cameras, his camera guys. Because the interesting thing was that usually when like someone is a videographer, they would be the one filming most of the time. But it was interesting to me that
he was just directing.
Yeah, he was more directing.
This fucking guy thinks he's Spielberg?
Scorsese.
What the hell's going on?
Camera people with him that were actually doing the work.
I don't remember that, but I do remember for a fact that he had told us that he was flown in to salvage the documentary. Anyway, so we were just offended by that because we were like, what do you mean salvage the documentary? And then him saying that he had no idea how to make the documentary for the first event. I had taken him from like 140 pounds as like never played a sport a day in his life. 10 months later, he ends up fighting Dr. Mike in front of over 10,000 people with 100,000 pay-per-view buys. And the fight itself was like a Rocky moment. And then he literally took interviews with everyone before the fights, after the fights. He got all the coaches to interview. And then he said he had no way to make the documentary. So I was just like, how can you not make it?
Yeah.
AB made a documentary.
Everybody made a documentary.
AB, Harley, I was in their documentaries, but I wasn't in Ian's documentary.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's so sad to work on an event, like to work such a big event like
You guys were so invested. Yeah.
We were so invested.
And it would always drive me crazy because I could tell Ian wasn't really proud of his work. So one of the big things is like it was very hard to get Ian to train because he doesn't like boxing. He doesn't like boxing him.
Well, that seems to be a.
Yeah, Anisa just wants to mold Ian into like this man that she wants him to be. Because she couldn't find a man like that was rich and hot that would want her, right? Because I'm not going to comment on her appearance, but if you've seen Anisa, you can infer what I was going to say. Yeah, so she wants to be able to pull men that, aren't in the same caliber of aesthetics as her, let's say. She obviously can't, so she has to get a rich guy that's never touched a woman's flesh at age. How old was Ian when they got together? Like 26 or something, and he never like kissed a girl or anything like that. So this, booby streamer comes along. I was like, I'll touch your willy. I'll sucky. And he just like bends over backwards to make her happy. And she knows like he'll do anything. She's like, yeah, you've got to box. You've got to get a tattoo. You've got to get a mullet. You've got to do all these things because I think it's hot. Like, if you don't try and change somebody. Either you like them for who they are, or just leave it. Just leave it alone. There's somebody out there for you. You don't need to try and make a square peg fit in a round hole, so to speak.
Somewhat of a
problem,
a sticking point.
Yeah. So I would try to make the session
because he's boxing, just to be clear. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't.
But I think that's why it was as traumatic as it was for him as well. because he was dealing with like a lot of trauma and a lot of issues when we were in our boxing sessions. And don't get me wrong, that happens with a lot of fighters in general, because fighting's very hard. Whether you're fighting MMA, boxing, whatever, it's very hard because you're getting beat up constantly, and then you're supposed to show up to the gym the next day and the next day and the next day. AB can attest to it, right? So it's mentally very hard. So I did feel bad for him because I could tell his heart wasn't into it. So then to be into something like that your heart's not into, that's why I didn't see him once the first event ended. We didn't see him again for several months. And I told him, hey, come in once or twice a week, train for fun, make it fun for yourself. Because when you're in a fight camp, it's not really fun. You just have to keep training.
Right.
But then he never came back. And then so I was like, oh, wow, he really doesn't like boxing. And then he did an interview with Anthony, or the guy from Smosh, and he was talking about boxing, and I was just like, oh, he doesn't like boxing at all, and he's making it like public now the way he was talking about it. And then even in the video where he's trying to promote Creator Clash 3, he said, oh,
So you don't like boxing, you don't like watching boxing, you don't like any of this stuff, but you and your missus' main thing is like putting on boxing events. These people will just do anything to try and be friends with the cool kids, who, by the way, aren't very cool. Don't know if you're not terminally online, like, normal people do not think that any of these people that they're pandering to are cool. Sorry to break it to you kids.
all I have is 4K footage of me going, and it's like, that's called boxing training, Ian.
That's what boxing looks like.
Yeah, that's literally what you're doing. And then if you notice, after he walked out of the third event and stepped away, he goes, I'm through with this boxing shit. I've been doing it for 4 years. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You trained for 10 months for the first fight. You took 6 months off. You trained 4 months for the second fight. And then you never came back to boxing again for over a year. So I'm like, how are you sick of boxing? Like, you obviously hate boxing. So yeah, so it was hard for me as a coach to just get him to train. Also, like, half of the sessions we'd have to train Anisa. So every session, instead of being just training for Ian for a fight, I would have to take half of the session and train Anisa.
So whose idea was that?
Hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing about it is Ian goes along with it, right? Because I feel like if Ian would have said, hey, no, I need the time to train, it might have been different. But he's just like, oh, no, she needs to train before I train.
But she didn't even fight. She wasn't even fighting.
No. And so literally in like the training footage, half of the set.
Anisa never intended on fighting anyone. That girl is so worried about how people perceive her. If she thought, like, obviously you don't know who's going to win a boxing match, right? You can make educated guesses. You can, if you have past performance data or something like that, you can make predictions. Like, that's what the people that do the odds for, like, sports betting do, right? That's their whole job, to work out who the favorite is and work out what the odds are. You can do things like that, but you can never really be sure. That's why people still watch fights and stuff, right? That's why we still watch State of Origin, because, like, oh, did we think New South Wales was going to win last year? No, but there was still a chance, so we still watched it, right? If we thought we were just going to get flogged by Queensland, we wouldn't even watch. But, like, we watch because there's always a chance. And we won. So, But Anisa, if she thought she would get punched in the face, knocked the fuck out, and look like a F-wit in front of the world, she's not going to. So she conveniently, she trains to fight, and then she doesn't, because she has a concussion every single time, and then she's got a concussion and she can't fight. It's very, very convenient.
Sessions I had with him would be with her. And then she would come in with, like, all sorts of drama to the gym. One day she was super dramatic, and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And she related Will Smith slapping to Chris Rock to somehow Ian having to defend her online. So she was, like, super dramatic the whole day. And I'm like, I can't even train Ian today because she's so dramatic. So that was
Imagine getting triggered over someone slapping a comedian at the Oscars and somehow making it about yourself, and now you're traumatized. these people, like Anisa, I saw a clip of Anisa yelling at like her haters, saying that they're losers, that could never hold down a real job, and they're this, that, and the other. This woman is insane. Like, she's so lucky she married into money. I mean, I don't think they're going to be millionaires for very long, because I think Anissa's just spending their money on bullshit, honestly. The woman's insane. But, yeah, imagine being that volatile. Yeah, the rest of us, Anisa, we just have to get up and go to work. We just have to get up and act like a normal, functioning member of society, and then get up again and do it again. That's what we have to do. But yeah, sure, you're traumatized over the Oscars. All right, love.
Give me a sec. Give me a sec.
Keep fucking my mouth.
The slap. Gosh.
Yeah. Yes. She came in distraught, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened?
Yeah.
She's on Chris. She's on the slapper side, right? Like she was empathizing with Will.
You gotta do this. You gotta do this.
She felt like she felt like Will was Ian.
He had to slap.
Yep, Ian has to slap all the people that insult her, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, but anyway, so
This is the thing, Anisa, sweetie darling. Stop being a horrible person and no one's gonna come after you. Just try being a nice person. I know it's hard. Try not doing cringe shit on the internet and people won't come after you. I know it's hard. Like, if you have your boyfriend arc up every time someone says something mean to you, guess what? The people that are being mean to you are gonna be like, this is fun, let's do it again. I don't want to use the old, boomer, don't feed the trolls rhetoric, but yeah, don't feed the trolls, sweetie. Just stop doing your weird dances on TikTok about your trauma or whatever. It's really weird. You can afford counseling, although apparently they do go to counseling, and that's how they ended up like this. So maybe don't go to counseling. Maybe just do the opposite of everything you're doing right now. Whatever you're doing right now, just do the opposite.
True. Will, I'm not putting this word. This is my observation. Will Smith is one of the most famous cucks.
Yeah.
And again, that's my analysis, not your guys'. But it is an interesting analogy, right? For them to be idolized, because Jada famously had an affair with her son's friend. So I wonder if that's how they relate more so than the slapping.
Keep fucking my wife's mouth.
Yeah, it's just me. I'm doing a little psychology here. Psychology in Los Angeles.
I got a couple questions actually, if you don't mind.
Harley, what's up, man?
Yeah,
please, by all means, yeah, chime in anytime.
Okay, yeah, I had a couple questions here. Let me get.
What's
let me
happening?
Set this up right here properly. Get this in order. Did you guys get any paperwork, by the way? Did you guys sign contracts? The fighters had contracts. I'm curious if the coaches had.
No, we never had a contract.
No.
Oh, interesting, because that would have been like something that would have.
How unprofessional. They didn't even have contracts, so these people just took them at their word, and then they didn't pay them a bonus that they were promised. Like, people, not all of us have, millions and millions and millions of dollars of YouTube rev. Like, if I didn't get paid for the work that I did, I wouldn't be able to pay my rent. I wouldn't be able to eat. I'm sure this lovely couple have a mortgage. They definitely have kids, because this lady gave birth at age, 15 and 17? I mean, they've got children to take care of. They've got, they've got a business. You can't just let these people run ragged, running around trying to organize your boxing event and then not pay them. That is messed up. That is the opposite of what a socialist would do, actually.
Detailed.
Mm-hmm.
What's like what I mean, did they, I guess by word they told you it was charity, and they didn't ever
Right. Yeah. So, and I'm still hoping that the first event was all charity, other than Ian taking his fighter purse. But what was crazy about that is then you said you had a $27,000 bonus, and I was always under the assumption that there was no bonus because even though he told me there was a bonus, he then disappeared for 6 months and I never saw him. So I was like, was there a bonus or was there not a bonus?
And you confronted about that? You asked them, or you didn't want to
No, I just let it be.
Because I'm the
No.
same way, by the way. I never spoke about money with Creator Clash. I have a guy on my team that does that. I wanted to not talk about money, and plus it's awkward when it's a charity thing. You're like, I don't want to. Am I gonna ask for money?
Yep. Right.
Yeah, and it's awkward when it's your fighter and then you have to train him for a whole nother event. And I mean, truthfully, like a lot of times fighters will say they're gonna pay a coach and then not pay a coach. So that happens sometimes. So truthfully, unfortunately, I'm used to that, right? Where they're like, oh, there's more money coming in, and then the more money coming in just goes to them. So you get used to that as a coach. But I am under the assumption that the first event did all go to charity. And then the second event was supposed to go to charity, but instead it went to the hotel, the pre-party and after party.
Was
and
there
I
a
one thing to
moment?
say about the after party, because he said he was using the after party to help promote the event. But I have no idea how an event after the fight will generate money for the fight.
Well, so that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense unless they already knew they were going to have another fight and it was to promote the next fight. But it doesn't make sense. It was 100% just a networking event for Anisa to try and like make friends with all the bread tubers, even though she doesn't understand the very basics of left-wing politics. She thinks housing is affordable. She thinks housing is very, very, very affordable in Canada and the United States. No, Anisa, it's not. We all didn't find a virgin YouTuber to latch onto and to manipulate and to what's the female version of dickmerized? To pussmerized? I don't know, pussmerized. Yeah. So, yeah, for the rest of us, Anisa, owning property is a very unattainable goal, regardless of how much we work. If you had to work the hours that the average person works, Anisa, you would die. You wouldn't be able to cry and have a break because you relate so much to Will Smith, you know, slapping Chris Rock, and you just feel like Ian should just be there turning up on the doorsteps of all your haters and just giving them a nice big old slap in the face. That's not how the real world works, Anisa. In the real world, where the rest of us unfortunately have to live, there are consequences for our actions.
In his most recent video of concern trolling, in the beginning, he says he's explaining how they lost money in the second one, and he goes, the event before the boxing was to promote it, and that sounds reasonable and normal. But I don't think he even mentioned the fact that there was a massive gala after the fight where Anisa got to play as MC and give out awards and shit.
So we actually didn't even know about the gala until about probably maybe less than a week before the event, or a week before the event. The only reason I knew about the gala was because Ian had invited some of his training partners and they were on the email list. And so they kept telling me there was going to be a gala. And I assumed they were talking about the pre-party, because the first year they did do the pre-party, but it was much smaller. It was on a way smaller scale than the second year. And then also, so we had no idea. So when everyone was asking me about a gala, they're like, what are you going to wear? I was like, I'm gonna wear sweatpants. What are you talking about? And then they're like, what? You're gonna wear sweatpants to a gala? You're crazy. And I was like,
first year, it was like the first year was like a little party thing. It was like a Sweet 16 vibe,
which is all you need.
Like, it's game set up.
Yeah,
we had Super Smash Brothers set up. It was in the hotel both years.
That sounds great.
It was much more casual.
Yeah, but you don't want to be partying hard before a sporting event, right? You don't want to be, you know, doing nose beers and beer and, you know, hard liquor and being hungover before you know, you're probably cutting weight, so it's probably, you know, not a good idea to be ingesting all those liquid calories. Yeah, you definitely don't want to fight, but it sounds like they just didn't want to invite this couple, this, you know, boxing training couple, because, you know, there's no clout to be gotten from these two. Also, I can imagine that the woman, what's her name? Kate. Sorry, Kate, forgot your name for a second there, sweetheart. Kate, I think you can tell she's a very attractive woman. I think in a nice fancy dress with her makeup and hair done, she would shit all over Anisa. And Anisa knows that. Anisa is the type of person that doesn't want girls that are prettier to be around her. Can guarantee you.
Casual, but if you dressed for that, like I was told specifically to dress nicely for the gala, that there would be pictures and such.
Yeah, we found out it was a red carpet event that they flew Getty Images in for. So they straight up flew Getty Images to take pictures for the event. But
yeah, they're the only. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when we asked them about it, and I said, "Hey, is there a gala?" And they said, "Oh, you guys don't even worry about it. You don't have to go to that." And I said, "What?" This is what Anisa said. And I said, "What?" And I said, "Well, some of the sparring partners got invited." And she said, "I don't know how they got on that list. They weren't supposed to be on the list." And in my mind, I'm like, Ian had invited them. He sent them the email personally.
What
right?
a disgusting human being she seems to be. I'm sorry.
Oh, she didn't want any of us there. She only wanted like creators there, or people that would, I guess, make her feel like she could get more clout. So she told us we didn't have to come to the event. She doesn't know why we would want to be at the event. And I said, "What's the event for?" Yeah. And she said, "And it's an award show." And I said, "What are the awards for?" And she said, "They're awards for the boxing." And I said, "Why wouldn't his coach want to be there? Why wouldn't his team want to be there?" I was like, that makes no sense. So everybody else, all the other coaches I talked to, I said, "Hey, did you guys know about the gala?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "Did you bring a suit for it?" And all of them had freaking like 3-piece suits with like kerchiefs and everything. I had sweatpants. I'm like, what?
Dude, that's so messed up. Why? It's like you're the guy connected with the event organizers, and they're explicitly excluding you guys.
I know why. I honestly believe that the reason why Ian and Nisa excluded us and did not want us to know about the gala is because we're both very professional, we're both very direct and very transparent. If they told us that they were going to throw a huge gala after the fight and it was going to cost a ton of money, we would have asked them, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah,
because Anisa already told us she shared.
Yeah, so these people obviously have a lot of industry experience, and Anisa probably convinced iDubbbz about, you know, all the reasons why this is such a great idea and blah, 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 blah. And she knows that these two would have been like, "No, this is absolutely something that nobody does. And these are the reasons why nobody does it. And these are the reasons why it's a waste of money. And these are the reasons why, you know, you're just taking a pile of cash and burning it for no reason." And Anisa knows that. She can't have anybody, you know, breaking her little magical pussy spell that she puts on iDubbbz. She can't have anybody breaking the illusion.
With us prior to CC2, like a month before, that they were negative, was it 500K already?
Yeah, at the time.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah, that's important.
Say that again.
They were negative 500K before the event.
Yes.
So going up to the event with the ticket sales and the PPV sales, when the event started, they knew they were down $500,000.
Yes.
Keep in mind that they moved to a bigger venue and they sold a lot of tickets. But before the event had started, they said we're fine. So the reason we found this out was because I wanted Ian to start doing 2 training sessions a day. And I said, "Ian, you need to start doing 2-a-days. And he was like, "Why should I do 2-a-days?" And I told him, I was like, "Ian, you're not good at boxing, man. My brand is at stake. So you need to do 2-a-days. That's what pro boxers do." And so I told him.
Wait, did you actually say that to him?
Yeah, yes. And then I told him, I said, "My brand is on the line." I said, "You can go back to YouTube. My whole life is fighting and coaching fighters." And I'm like, "So if you don't have a good performance, that's going to look bad on me." After the first event, for the first event, he didn't do any of his cardio. So that's why I ended up gassing out so bad. And I truthfully believe if he would have just done his freaking cardio, that he would have won that fight. But they couldn't do the.
Yeah, so he half-assed his training, right? He half-assed his training. He got really lucky with YouTube, right? He found a format that worked with his personality. He was able to garner a lot of views, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying that, like, coming up for ideas with content and editing and doing all of that isn't work, because it's work. But he's not used to, like, actual proper work, right? And being asked to do something like cardio to get his heart rate up, and he's never done it before. Obviously, it's incredibly uncomfortable. Working out is incredibly hard. I had to try for like a good 45 minutes last night to motivate myself to get up, walk out my front door, and go to the gym and do some weights, because I really didn't want to. But I can imagine Ian waking up in the morning and doing that every day. Cardiovascular training is an absolute grind set. You are correct. It is horrible. It is grueling. I have heart problems, so I don't do cardio. I just do weight training, and the most cardio that I do is a brisk walk, because I literally take heart medication, like I'll keel over. But yeah, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with Ian's heart, except for, you know, the harpy that's got some type of claw in it. The beast known as Anisa.
Cardio, because 10 weeks before the first event, Anisa wanted them to buy a house. So instead of doing 2 training sessions a day at that point, they had to cut out training to go look to buy a house. And he moved into his new house the week before we left to Florida. So he literally wasn't training like he was supposed to for that whole first event, because they wanted to go buy a house when they could have just rented a place for 6 months.
And that's not her money. She doesn't have money to buy a house. That's his money. She's like, you're buying me a house. Imagine being a solid 6 and being able to land somebody that can just buy you a house. This timeline is insane, people. It's insane.
6 months or a year, and then Ian could have focused on the fight, had the fight, and then found a new place. So I found that super offensive. I'm like, you're not doing anything, I'm telling you. And they would lie to me, and he would tell me he was doing his road work.
They would lie? Why would he lie? That's like lying to your doctor.
It made no sense, because he acted like I told him to do things because I wanted him to do them. And I really wanted him to do things because that would help him win the fight.
Yeah.
So when I tell him, hey, you need to do this, he'd be like, and then not really do it. He didn't realize how important cardio.
Yeah, you hire a professional because you don't know how to train for a boxing event. Then the professional boxing trainer is like, hey, you need to do these and these and these exercises, you know, twice a day, or this one once a day, or this and this and this, and you need to do this. And Ian's like, why is he getting me to do all this weird shit? I'm not doing it. Yeah. That's how you become a good boxer. That's why he's getting you to do it. You didn't know this shit, which is why you hired a professional. These people are so dumb. Seriously, talk about accidental. We all thought iDubbbz was like this really smart, funny, autistic kid, right? Remember when we used to watch like the unboxing videos, the Kickstarter crap, all those videos? We just thought he was like this really funny, witty guy. No, guys, he's a moron. He's a moron who probably doesn't know how to. Anisa probably helps him get dressed in the morning. And before that, it was probably his mummy.
Cardio was until the second fight.
What do you mean he didn't realize how important cardio is? That's like the entire thing. Yeah, that's everything. That's the whole thing.
It literally is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you know, hearing all this, strikes me as ironic, because he was always, and Anisa, going on about how they hold boxing in such high esteem and they want everyone to train, and this is life or death. This is serious.
Do I think Anisa could be a miser? She seems incapable of hiring a person, like she's holding on for dear life to money. No, I think she's buying houses. She's spending $500,000 on a party just so she can get near Hassan and Denims and those people who she seems to, like, you know, totally changed her personality so that she can be friends with. I don't think she's a miser at all. I hope Ian is has some money hidden away in like bonds or something like long-term bonds, something that she, you know, something that she doesn't know about and something that she can't touch. Because if Anisa feels like she can do better than iDubbbz, she will leave iDubbbz. She's a monkey brancher. Like, she used her first boyfriend to get into Twitch, who was like a League of Legends player on Twitch. She used that boyfriend to, you know, go to TwitchCon. Then she accidentally booked an extra day at the hotel. And she knew, you know, that iDubbbz is a little virgin, never touched a girl's boobie before. And she went and found him. Then, you know, they're dating while she's still going out with this poor Arcadian fella. And, yeah, as soon as she can do better than iDubbbz, she's off to the next one. She's, I don't think she realizes how she outwardly appears. I don't think she has any self-awareness at all. Yeah, I would feel bad for her if she wasn't evil, but she is, so fuck her.
In the ring, and people die in the ring, and and hearing him speak so loftily and respectfully about boxing, but then hearing he's like, oh yeah, no, I lied to my trainer about running. It's like, what?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that was them regurgitating what I would say. A lot of it, when I would tell them things about boxing, they would go repeat those things. I don't know how much of it was like them actually believing it. But so for that second event, so I tell him he needs to do 2-a-days. This is like 2 weeks before the fight. I'm like, we need to do your 2-a-days. And I said, my brand is at stake. Well, he went and told Anisa that I told him my brand was at stake. So the next day she comes into the gym super mad. And she's like, our brand is at stake. We're $500,000 in the hole right now. And we're like,
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that at that time. I think a lot of the fighters would have liked to have known that. I don't think none of them needed to be in the dark about that, you know?
Yes, completely. Well, and
so Anisa, completely unable to regulate her emotions, completely, you know, thinks everything's about her. Literally anything that anyone says, even, you know, Will Smith slapping somebody at the Oscars is somehow a metaphor about her and her life. This woman is so self-obsessed and just so petty, so vindictive, so nasty. But she's better than us, guys. They have so much more empathy than us, and we could never understand because we are just incapable of fathoming the depths of their empathy and compassion. You know, they don't have time to tweet about a child marriage bill, a bill that would prohibit women essentially being trafficked into slavery. No, but they're still better than you. Don't you ever forget that.
And that's the thing. They said you guys didn't promote enough, but they weren't honest about the fact that they were spending the money from the ticket sales on the hotel, on flying people in, on all these other things. So it was just like...
So those decisions, the gala decisions, were made while in the red.
Yes.
I have a question about that.
So she was like, we're already down 500,000, and she still had time to cancel stuff when she said that. Like, how before the event was that?
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks before the event. I mean, they knew
she
they
could have
were
made some last minute moves. Yeah.
They knew they were 500K in the hole long before that, right? That's just when they yelled at us about it.
Yeah.
So they could have definitely made moves to reduce spending.
She wanted that award show so bad the next day. They really, really wanted to have that award show so she could give out awards. Once again, you had heard, like Ian said, he didn't want to...
Oh, you know what? Doesn't that Ludwig guy's girlfriend, Cutie Cinderella or whatever the fucking dumb name she has, doesn't she like have an award show for streamers? Yeah, that's why Anisa wanted to have an award show where she could give out awards to, YouTubers and streamers and like e-celebs, right? Because she wants to be like Ludwig's girlfriend, because Ludwig does like podcasts and stuff with Hassan. And, you know, I guarantee you, because girls like this, they don't have personalities. They just copy, like, they just mimic what they see other. Like, Anisa has no sense of self. I guarantee you she saw some girl, you know, that had tattoos and was into, like, I don't know, shit alt rock music, and then she started like wearing the t-shirts and getting the tats and whatever. Like, she just sees somebody and then she's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be my next personality. Like, very
have
sad.
the fight just end and have everybody go home the next day.
He said, I'll quote him because it's very rich. He says that the first time afterwards, he woke up and everybody was gone, and he found it super depressing because he didn't get a chance to process his trauma, which seems a little bit hyperbolic, frankly, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's like a self-inflicted charity event. I wouldn't call that exactly I wouldn't put that up with like maybe like fighting in a war. I don't know, but right. But I guess we all define trauma differently. But so he goes, so in that case, I wanted to throw a party afterwards where we could all talk to each other and process our trauma. And then he says, we lost money, but I don't regret throwing the after party.
Yeah, he said
I think that was a lot of her words, because like he would say things that she would say. And so, for example, he said, well, we thought inviting Hassan and all those other people was going to translate to more buys, pay-per-view buys.
And they didn't even promote. They didn't even care.
No, it made no sense to me. I'm like, people don't watch fights because Denzel Washington's in the crowd. They're not
right.
Like, Denzel Washington's there, I need to watch the fight.
Right.
Like, it makes.
Yeah, 100%. You see so many celebrities, like, sometimes they'll pan to the crowd and you'll see, like, all these celebrities at, like, you know, titleship, boxing fights, or, like, just UFC title fights, all of that. You see so many celebrities, like, in the front row because they've paid for the really expensive seats. But, yeah, nobody's like, oh, I'm going to go there so I can sit in the same crowd as, like, Brad Pitt. Nobody's doing that.
Makes no sense. And if they would have taught, so a lot of decisions before the first event, they like spoke with us about, because I know boxing. I've been around boxing my entire life. So I'm like, oh, I could help them with all these other things. And then for the second event, I felt like they wanted to make it much more like their own version of a TwitchCon, their own version of a VidCon.
That's what he said, yeah.
She said that she wanted to be like a VidCon. And we are new to the YouTube world. Like, we never been to a VidCon. And she's like, you guys haven't been before, but it's super cool where all these famous YouTubers come and everybody gets to vibe out. And so I was just like, is this like Comic-Con?
Yeah, he was really mad the first year that like, because she would always talk about a certain group of people. It was like somebody named Pokimane.
Imagine, sorry, like, no offense to Pokimane or any of those girls. I'm sure they're very lovely. But just imagine, like, your goals in life were just to be friends with those people. Just be normal. Just have real, genuine friendships with people that you genuinely have affection for. And you can, like, feel, like, having friends in the world is like one of the things that makes like life beautiful and tolerable. You know, having real friendships based on real, you know, real mutual affection and loyalty and respect. That's one of the most beautiful things in life. Friendships aren't for social climbing and for networking and for, you know, all of these things. That's not what friendship is. You shouldn't have to buy friendships. You know, throwing a big party so you can get the cool kids to come. It reminds me of like the loser kid in school that maybe had like a really big house with a swimming pool, and then when their parents would go away, they would throw a party. And they would have alcohol at the party, right? They would maybe raid their parents' like bar or something like that. And they would throw a big party. And of course, all the cool kids would turn up because there's a pool and there's a house with no parents. and there's access to alcohol. Maybe the dad's like got a homebrew set up, so there's like kegs and everybody's drinking all the alcohol, and everybody has a great time. They trash the nerd's house, and you know, this kid's probably, you know, facing punishment for like the next few years of their life. And then the popular kids will still ignore, they'll still ignore you at school the next day.
And all these other people, and she would always talk about how she wants like them to be there and she wants to be a part of their group. So a lot of it, and then so that's why like, and then the first year was like during that girl's birthday party. So
no, sorry. Knowing that detail, it breaks my heart that she had to settle for denims.
Yeah. I don't even know these people, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the only people I really know in the YouTube world is you guys, because you guys were so nice to us. Like, we got more clout from being on your show than we ever did from working with Ian, because he would never show any of the work we did. He would never, and then everybody else, it drove me crazy. Like, AB would shout out his coach, Wale, Lucky Boy, and then
AB was AB was all about it, man, and you know, the coaches deserve a lot of credit for what you, especially you guys who were involved with the freaking event, the management of the whole event, you know.
Right. Yeah. Mike Leonardi even said after the second event ended, when it was just him and I talking, and Mike Leonardi was like, "Man, these events wouldn't even happen without you." And I'm like, "Yeah," because he knows about the drama that I have to deal with training Ian and how hard it was to get him to train. Yeah. And so, because I think he knew Mike knew that I think Ian didn't like boxing either.
Everybody.
Yeah, if you don't like boxing and you're not interested in boxing and you don't want to train for boxing, maybe, I don't know, don't run a boxing event. Maybe don't fight people who are going to kick your ass. I don't know. It's weird the way that works, isn't it?
By the way, like, he would interact with boxing.
So this guy, Mike, you mentioned him to me. I wasn't sure. He's the fight promoter?
So he was the manager that they got in touch with. So what happened, the story of this event was amazing. Like, Ian had to reach out to all these people and they were weird. And then he reached out to Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao hooked him up with a guy. And then that guy ends up putting him on a phone call. And that's how they met Mike Leonardi. And so Mike was a manager in Vegas, and he knows promoters, and he knows how to promote boxing events. And so the actual promoter was a guy named Ryan Rickey, who's like friends with Coach Thompson, Jesse Thompson, and this guy, Coach Rick.
That's Harley's coach.
Yeah, Jesse Thompson's Harley's coach. So anyways, he hooks us up with all these guys in Florida, and that's how we were able to throw the event. But it was like the craziest set of circumstances for us to end up where we ended up. So I wish Ian would have told the story. He should have been proud of the story.
Oh, I saw something today that said, because Pokimane wouldn't come to her boxing event, Anisa made the gala, like the big party that all the influencers who were obviously friends with Pokimane, she made that on Pokimane's birthday. So all the people that she invited would be at her gala and not at Pokimane's birthday. Yeah, if that's not like vindictive, borderline personality, like, you know, lashing people out because they rejected you, I don't know what is. It's so this girl is so textbook. Oh my goodness.
Right.
I had a quick question. Sorry.
You want to go or should I go?
Oh, I was going to say.
Sorry, I'm being silly. Go ahead.
Roll it.
Oh, Ela had a funny comment. She said, Ela donated. I hate when she does that. Why is she giving money to Google? That's our money. Anyway, she said, too much dumping in here. You guys, stop. This is not what podcasting is.
I know. I was afraid this was going to be an emotional dumping ground.
This
and I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't sound like
Anyway, sorry, Harley, go ahead.
I was going to ask, because just your opinion, do you think that they were intentionally misleading with any of this, or just sloppy in their execution and communication?
Just sloppy. I think it was just sloppy. Like, that's the thing. Like, I still freaking, I always had the best. You want to be around people that want the best for you. And I always wanted the best for Ian. And so I always felt like, man, like, we're going to break through. We're going to have this moment where we break through and things are going to be good. But then they never were. So in my mind, I think they just got sloppy. I think they thought in the second event they were going to do millions of dollars in pay-per-view sales. And so I think that's why they went so far in the hole, because they just assumed they were going to get these huge pay-per-view sales.
Just to be clear, Hila's joking. I don't know if you guys know that. The dumping thing is a joke about something Ian said. Okay. I didn't want you guys to.
Yeah. Ian and Anisa literally have a podcast called, I think, The Bog, that's behind a paywall. And I've seen some of it, and it's literally just them trauma dumping. But then they had the temerity to say that Ethan Klein was just trauma dumping on his show, and it was inappropriate somehow. Their feelings aren't inappropriate. Their feelings are valid and important, but not your feelings, you pleb. Your feelings don't matter. You're gross, and you're not a rich YouTuber. So just remember that, guys.
To think that I was.
You guys
dump away,
dumping ground.
please. We're here to dump. Yeah. You mentioned something. So this guy Michael, Mike. So he left Creator Clash and went and started working for Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And he scheduled the Jake Paul event.
Oh wow.
For the same day.
Yes.
Yes. Ian's old guy. He did.
It sounds like everybody that works with these people hate them. Like, I don't know. Did Ian always used to be like this? Because I feel like he used to be kind of at least a sweet guy. Like, I know he was, not the nicest to some other YouTubers. But I mean, that seems to be, par for the course. Everyone's making drama videos about everybody else. But I don't know. He seemed to at least be able to make and maintain friendships, right? He doesn't seem to be able to do that anymore. He seems to be burning all of his bridges. It's actually really, really sad. She seems to be isolating him from his friends and family. And that's actually really, really sad. And even though he is an awful person and has done awful things, I don't think really anybody deserves that. I mean, I do. I know, like iDubbbz, I am discovering empathy. And I do actually feel a little bit sorry for him.
And he had to do that on purpose, right?
I think he still owns Creator Clash, that guy. I think he's still part of it.
Well,
It's just when you have a Jake Paul, you can that's your thing. That's going to take priority over everything for sure. The event is 100 times bigger than Creator Clash at its best. But I think he's still involved with Creator Clash.
So, but then why would he do it on the same day if it wasn't meant as shade?
It's a great day.
It's crazy.
It's so crazy to me. When we saw that,
yeah.
I was like, because we already knew it was the same night as it. So first of all, Ian never even reached out to me at all for Creator Clash 3. That's one of the big things I want from this is to because what happens when Ian messes with you or messes with these other people, a lot of it comes back onto me and either my YouTube channel or my Instagram, where people start putting a bunch of comments on my stuff. It's probably happening to Harley. It happens to everybody that's related to it, right?
Well, like what? What did they say?
They say fraud coach.
They're shit. What?
They talk about the spawning videos.
Oh.
So people want to see spawning videos, but Ian never put out any of my filming, so people think that Michael didn't
so
spar correctly.
People in the comments, they'll say, oh my gosh, you never had him spar, that's why I lost the fight. Oh, you didn't have him do this, that's why I lost the fight. And I'm like, if he were to release the footage, they would say we did all of those things. But now I have to try to stick up for myself and have my YouTube be an emotional dumping ground in my comment section. To try to protect myself. But
I'm just gonna head to the little girls' room, everybody. Sorry, just, been streaming for a while. Sitting here, sipping the tea, both figuratively and literally. Sometimes, has its consequences. And we are back. Sorry about that. I have a new cup of piping hot tea, but it's actually way too hot to drink. So we'll have to leave that for the time being. All right. Where were we? Let's go.
Or my brand. And so it was just crazy to me because
Horrible.
Sorry about that, guys. Ian, now is not your time. We'll have time for you. Sorry about that. He's intolerable. Hila is loving this, by the way. She just gifted 20 members. Hila is loving this. So Ian almost has this superpower. Maybe it's Anisa together, but they say great leaders inspire loyalty. It seems that everybody in his life, he's forced to be disloyal. He has like negative leadership. What do you call that? What is negative leadership?
Abuse.
Abuse?
Ooh.
Okay.
Yes.
So you think it's so I guess quantify that. Did you feel like abuse? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. The reason why I say it's abusive is because like for example, the bonus, right? They mentioned it to me, Michael, that they're gonna give a bonus after CC1. And then after the event was so great, they just went rogue on us, It's interesting because we invite them to our house for Thanksgiving. We're so nice to them. We open up our lives to them. They've met my kids, like our kids, and everything. But then once the work.
Did she just say that Anisa and Ian went to her house for Thanksgiving? Because I'm sure they're not, I'm sure Anisa doesn't let Ian see his own parents, right? Because they're probably going to be like, oh, you've changed since you've been with that girl. You seem really depressed, yada, yada, yada. So Anisa probably, doesn't let him see his own parents. But did she just say that Anisa and Ian went to her house for Thanksgiving? Because isn't that a really big deal? Isn't that like, a very huge gesture? Like you would only have people over to your house for Thanksgiving that you really cared about.
Work is done and they don't need us. They kind of just put us at bay and they make it uncomfortable for us to reach out to them. Or if we reach out to them, they don't respond. So treating us like we're not really in their inner circle, which makes no sense because we worked with them for CC1, CC2. Michael and I have traveled with them to LA, Vegas, Florida. Keep in mind that when we were in Florida with them, we were with them for 2 to 3 weeks at a period of time. That's a long time to be with someone. You learn so much about the person. And then you start to realize, wow, everything that, I don't want to say, their enemy's name. What's his name? Sam. Like, I don't want to say he's right.
Sam Hyde.
No, he's right. You could say it.
I was like,
the one where he's like, well, hold on. So there's a video of Sam Hyde and he goes, she's going to ruin his life. Mark my words. I guarantee it. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, Anisa was the one that showed it to us because we didn't know nothing.
What was funny too is like,
I was just thinking about that on the way to work because I saw that clip too, and I was like, damn, like Sam
Hyde is unhinged. That man is absolutely unhinged.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah.
Well, so what's crazy to me is like, so for example, when Ian did your show for Creator Clash 2, he would never say my name. He would always just go Ian's coach or my coach. And then AB was the one that actually had to say my name. AB was like, oh, you mean Michael? And then I was like, thank you, AB. Appreciate you. But and then same thing when he did the other podcast, he said, oh, my coach is he's really tough. He has toxic masculine qualities.
Wait, when did he say that?
He said that when he was talking to
when he did the podcast
with the Smosh guy.
Yeah.
So he did that and he said,
know what?
oh my.
He's lost his mind.
Toxic I think he thinks that anybody that expects any type of work or effort from him is displaying toxic masculine traits. No, that's just an expectation of being in the world, Ian. If you hire a trainer to train you, they're probably going to expect that you want to get trained in preparation for a fight. They're probably going to try and get you up to a fighting standard. That's not toxic masculinity. That's called them doing their job. Personal trainers, this is why I don't have a personal trainer, right? Because I am somebody that has to self-motivate. If I have somebody yelling at me saying, another 2 reps, come on, you can do it, I'll be like, no, fuck off. Why don't you just piss off? But if I'm motivating myself, I will say to myself, all right, let's, rest 10 seconds and then do another 6 reps. And like, that's how I motivate myself. But you hired somebody to train you. That's what a trainer does. You pay a trainer to be on your ass and to be making you do the stuff you don't want to do. Otherwise, you would train yourself. But you don't know how to, Ian, because you don't know how to throw a punch, because you're a little girl who didn't touch a boobie until you were like 26 years old.
I'm sorry, but if anybody deserves to have toxic masculine traits, it's your boxing coach, okay? Get in line, bitch. You know what I mean? Go fucking wake up and run. Think about, you remember Mike Tyson's coach, this like grumpy, insane old man? Like, this is who you want to fucking coach you, dude. What are you talking about?
I didn't see the podcast you're talking about, but yeah, I know when I was training with Michael, I felt so loving compared to when I was fighting with Wally.
It sounds like
Wally used to tell me, you could punch me in my sleep and I won't blink. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? I actually had to learn how to talk to Ian from training, because during one of the sessions when he wasn't supposed to spar, but then he ended up going to spar Alex Stearns one day.
Oh, I want to ask you about that.
Oh, yeah, it was hilarious. It was funny to me because we weren't supposed to spar that day. Actually, it was the morning that he released the Sam Hyde documentary.
Yeah.
So I had no idea he had so much going on, because I didn't even know what the documentary was.
We didn't know who anybody was.
Anybody. I just want to control. I want to focus on the fight, right? So
yeah, these are normal people with a normal life, just trying to have a happy family. Obviously, Kate has had, a traumatic background, but, in spite of that, she's obviously made quite a lovely life for herself with her husband. She has a nice little family life. Like, normal people don't know about internet drama. Like, this is why I started VTubing, right? Because if I start talking about this to my friends, they're like, I don't know who any of these people are, Panda. You are a nut job. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start streaming and just say it into the ether. And if other people want to listen to me, that's also cool. But yeah, these people are normal, Ian. They don't know who Sam Hyde is. They don't know about you going and trying to like set Sam Hyde up and make him look like an idiot and do some type of hit piece on him. That was so funny when iDubbbz tried to do a hit piece on Sam Hyde, but Sam Hyde was trolling him the entire time. It broke Ian's brain because he thought he was like some type of like super intellect, but he'd always just sort of like gone after like low hanging fruit, like teenage girls and guys that aren't too bright. And yeah, Sam Hyde just ran circles around him. Absolutely hilarious.
Documentary, but we're in LA. We're visiting gyms,
and
we're supposed to watch
your podcast.
Yeah, that was for that. But we wanted to watch Alex Stearns train. So we go to Alex Stearns' gym, and the coach of the head guy of the gym, the owner, says that he doesn't believe women should fight. So Anisa gets really upset and decides she wants to. The owner of the gym.
Look, my dad is a boxer. Well, he's not. He was. He boxed in the Navy and in the Army. Not at the same time. He was, separate spates in the military. But he hates women boxing. He doesn't think that women should be taking blows to the head. He doesn't think that women should be doing contact sports. He's vehemently against it. Like, he taught me how to like swing a punch, how to like efficiently punch somebody for self-defense, because I'm, quite a petite woman. Having a daughter, I think as a man, like, you worry, will they be able to like punch a MFR in the face if like they try anything, untoward. But yeah, it's a very, very common for men not to want to see women getting punched. I think that's a pretty normal instinct, right? I mean, yeah, you can say that it's sexist or whatever, but like, go find another gym to train in. Go find a female boxing gym. Like, there are some, but yeah, some people just are old school like that and they don't like it. It really upsets them. My dad gets so angry when he sees women's boxing in the Olympics. He watches women's rugby though, so I just don't think he just likes the, them getting punched in the face. He just finds it upsetting. but it's better than a guy that likes women getting punched in the face. I think that's a lot more disturbing, to be honest.
Said that.
The owner
Okay,
of
okay.
So Anisa got so offended that she said Ian needs to spar now today, and we're like, what? And then and I'm like,
man, to get slaughtered by Alex Ernst, who's like some kind of like boxing savant or something. He fucking annihilated him, dude.
Yeah.
So what happened was, it was funny because Alex has really thick glasses. So he took his glasses off and he can't see anything. So he just starts swinging haymakers.
Oh, he couldn't even see.
Oh no, but Ian like froze.
Oh wait, and also before the filming, so before they did the sparring, Anisa and Ian runs up to me and they're like, Kate, make sure you film this because we want to put on our YouTube channel in the documentary, how does 3 week of training look like and 3 months of training look like? Because Ian at that time had been training for 3 months with us. And so I filmed it.
And Alex 3 weeks. He had just started.
Yeah. Well, and the thing was, skill-wise, Ian was much better. Ian wasn't just used to somebody throwing haymakers. And so Alex comes out and just starts hitting him with haymakers. And the first 2 rounds, I was talking to him very softly. I was like, Ian, are you okay? Can you throw punches? If you can't throw punches, I'm going to scrap this sparring because you're not throwing any punches. And then he's like, no, I'm fine. And then 2 rounds later, then I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And then he went on the Smosh show and he was like, yeah, it's bad enough when you get beat up and your coach is yelling at you too.
Shut up, dude.
I swear.
No, he was worried about you because you weren't fighting. You were in some type of fight or flight mode, but you obviously weren't in the fight mode. You were frozen. You were frozen in place, and he was like, hey mate, do you want me to call it? Like, you need to communicate with me. Like, imagine getting offended over that. See, bosses talk to employees in a really, not so great way sometimes, and we just have to put up with it, right? Ian and Anisa would be like filing HR complaints left, right, and center, saying this person's doing microaggressions, this person's doing a racism, this person's doing a sexism, this person's doing a whatever. And these are the types of people that would just lose their job and just wouldn't, how you probably know somebody in your life, right, that like can't hold down a job to save themselves and never really in a job for more than like 6 months or so. That's who Ian and Anisa would be if they didn't get lucky on the internet. That's 100% who they would be.
Yeah,
dude, listen to the audio of any corner. That's how the corner's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
Throw a punch, man.
Yes.
Oh, here, I have the reference here. Let's watch it.
Alex is a freak of nature, I gotta say.
Along the way.
I remember watching that, and everyone was like, what was that? Because it seemed, everybody could tell he got pretty rattled by that fight.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say, and I'm going to, did you say he cried?
We had to have a meeting.
So after that, he was crying at the gym afterwards, and I said, and once again, I hate to hate on him for that because it's very emotional.
Yeah, for sure.
In some hard sparring, right?
Yeah.
So but then.
Yeah, I really don't like people laughing at men crying because I think if you're going through something hard, the male self-deletion rates are so high, and I would rather my male friends or my sibling or even my dad come to me if they're really upset about something and they have something very serious going on, or go and talk to a professional or, whatever. I don't want men to feel like they can't cry. Obviously, if you're, I am the biggest crybaby you will ever meet. I watch a lot of K-drama and I'm just crying all the time. Like, I'll have like my housemate walk into the room and he'll be like, oh, is like something wrong or just K-drama? And I'll have tears streaming down my face and I'm blowing my nose and I'm like, no, it's just really romantic, or like, whatever it is, because I'm an emotional person. Obviously, like if a guy's that emotional, like I cry when I see a cute baby. I cry when I see a cat. I cry when I see, like, I don't know. I need to get my estrogen levels, sort it out. But yeah, if a guy's crying like that, but like, yeah, if they're going through something really challenging, or like they've just physically exerted themselves, or they've just, you know, they've got a lot of adrenaline going through their bodies because they've just had a fight, I think it's okay to cry. Like, I really think we shouldn't be like, oh, pussy, ooh. Like, I think like we can't in one breath like go on about toxic masculinity, this and that and the other, and then like make fun of guys for expressing themselves. Like, I don't think that it's, you know, it's okay to be upset if the situation warrants it. Like, don't keep it in, boys, if you've got like something going on. Yeah, just, you know, if you need to cry in front of somebody that's like trusted and you know they're not a dickhead, and you know, like, yeah, go to your boys or go to your girlfriend or, you know, whoever you feel safe around, and just, yeah, let it out. That's my advice. I don't even know how many times a week I cry, but it's got to be at least daily. And sometimes it'll just be like even a commercial or something. I'm like, oh, look at that old man. He's so cute. And I will like, I'll just start crying. I have issues, man.
What happened afterwards was horrible, because then we went back to the hotel, and then they were eating at Denny's, and they said we need to have a meeting. So I have to go to Denny's, and they pretty much then talked about how they were going to have to fire me because I reminded Ian of his father when his father would yell at him as a kid. And so I had to relearn how to talk to him. And at the time, I didn't even mind, because I'm like, as a coach, I need to learn how to talk to different fighters anyways. Like, communication is the most important thing. One of the most important things as a coach. So yeah. I was trying to turn it into a positive, but.
See how professional these guys are. He's like, well, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm going to do some self-reflection. You know, I'm not used to dealing with hyper emotional men with very controlling missuses. Maybe I will, you know, learn, if I encounter another Ian, I will learn how to talk to him. You know, he's taking it on the chin, taking it like a champ.
It definitely was. But he almost got fired at Denny's.
Yeah, exactly. After that sparring session. But
I
not
almost
only
farted
that,
at Denny's.
Yeah, Michael and I rewatched the sparring, right, with him and Alex Ernst, and you could clearly hear that Anisa was screaming louder than Michael.
Yeah, so he was literally yelling at him worse than I was. But I was like, but apparently I was the one that I yelled at him and he froze.
It triggered him and he thought of his dad. That's what she said.
So we'd have to.
Yeah, but it makes Ian's pee hard when Anisa yells at him. Like, the guy clearly has some type of humiliation fetish. She's always emasculating him and disrespecting him in public. But if anybody else does it, they're evil. But when Anisa does it, it's like, I don't know. He must like it because he's still with her, right? Like,
to deal with things like that all the time, where it was like he wasn't even supposed to spar that day. Like, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
He didn't have a mouthpiece.
He didn't
have a mouthpiece, so they had to buy a $20 mouthpiece from the gym and put it in the microwave. It didn't even fit. It was ridiculous.
When you plan to spar like that, you want to prep. You don't want to just go into it.
You want to be like, ask AB. You want to be mentally prepared for a sparring day.
Okay, because it's yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, my first sparring day, like it was so fucking bad. Like when I left and I came back, Wally started jumping all around the gym. He's like, I never thought I'd see you again. He goes, okay, the fact that you came back, he's like, now I'm in.
Holy shit.
But yeah, it was scary. I was supposed to spar Alex Ernst, actually, because me and Alex would talk all the time.
God,
and I heard about this encounter, and I told Alex after that, I'm like, fuck that. I'm good.
Alex had a really good coach. Alex actually found a coach that like coached world champion boxers. I have no idea how he found the guy. The guy showed up the day of the event, like a couple hours before the event, and then he left right after the event. So he didn't stay for anything, Alex's coach. But he was a really good coach.
So he wasn't prepared to spar, and then Anisa put him up to it because she heard the owner of the gym is
the
owner of the gym who's not related to the fight really. He wasn't there. He didn't care. It was just some comment. So she had to prove something to the owner to have him beat up Alex, who doesn't have anything to do with him. They have a weird thing. They do this where they go, oh, really? If you think I'm an asshole, then you should hear about this what this kid did, totally unrelated to me at this shooting range. You should hear what the owner of this building said. Who it's like, what are you talking about? What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah, it's like another rice gum situation where someone's beefing and Anissa's like, Ian, you better go throw a fight now and beat him up and be a boxer.
Yeah, that was actually how the whole situation started, was because Rice Gum had texted Anissa, and he said, tell your husband to fight me, or tell your man to fight me, or something like that. And that's how they ended up hiring me, because I was supposed to train him to fight Rice Gum. So I was like, all right, I'm going to have two.
Honestly, I think a lot of people would have paid to watch that. That actually probably would have been a smart financial, decision for them to make if he had a fought Rice Gum. Because I think a lot of people would like to see those two just smash the poo out of each other.
Totally inexperienced people fight and on some event. I had no idea what was going on.
Right. This is a lot.
It is a lot.
The sparring thing is next level, because sparring at our level, people don't spar in their first year of boxing necessarily.
Right.
And it is really mentally and physically taxing. And if someone did boxing for 2 months and then sparred and then quit, I would understand that. And there's no way my coach would have ever, like, anyone could have been like, oh yeah, he's gonna go do this or that if I wasn't mentally prepared for it. So the pressure aspect is really interesting, because I don't understand ultimately what was the point of that. It's just gonna set things back,
Yeah, and that's why, like, I would always try to have Ian do very controlled sparring until
Anyway, I think we get the idea. Anissa's not a nice person. Ian's maybe always not been a nice person, and Anissa's just brought it out of him. I don't know, maybe the two of them are bringing out the worst in each other. Just like two horrible people that have found somebody as horrible as them so they can be horrible together and just amplify the horribleness, if that's a word. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, I can see myself live. That's amazing. What should we watch? Actually, you know what, guys? My throat is so sore. I do have the flu at the moment. It's going around. The more that I think about talking for like another hour, I'm like, I don't know if you can hear, my nose is pretty blocked. It's not great. I'm kind of good to call the stream, but thank you for everybody that hung out tonight. I appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.